The job of the lawyer is to consider the facts and work out how the law applies to them. Therefore, anyone studying law will regularly be asked to consider a story or problem scenario and work out how the law applies to it. To do this, we use a problem scenario methodology. There are several different methodologies, but one is the IRAC methodology. The I stands for issue, and the first thing we do is identify the legal issues. Each legal issue will be a paragraph in our final essay. The R stands for rule, and for every legal issue we need to explain the legal rules. It is important when we do this to cite the source of these rules, either as cases or acts of parliament or statutes. The next step is the A. This stands for apply, and this is the difficult part. We must apply the rules we have explained to the issues we have identified. Finally, the C is for conclude. As a conclusion, we must provide a brief summary of the law that applies to the problem scenario, saying what that means for the parties involved. The IRAC methodology works well for all law subjects. In this worked example, we look at criminal law. This video is an extract from the criminal conflicts video that we use at the University of Northampton to teach criminal law. The video is a long problem scenario, so as you watch the next section, try to identify the issues. The issues are any event that raises a legal topic you are going to discuss in your answer. In this section of the video, try to spot anything you think might be a crime. Let's stop here, as we have enough issues to discuss. It's not easy identifying issues, but students find that as they practice, they improve. There are 4 issues in the clip we have just reviewed. Don't worry if you didn't get them all, as we're going to review the clip again and identify the issues together. The first issue occurs here when Gabrielle accuses David of touching her without her wanting him to. That's all we do when identifying issues. We're not dealing with the law yet. That comes later. So we shouldn't be using legal terminology like assault, battery, or consent yet. That comes later when we explain the rules. This is the second issue. Benjamin slaps David's face. Again, we're just focusing on what happens, not on the law yet. The third issue is Chris stamping on Eugene's foot. And the final issue is Eugene retaliating by pushing Chris. So, we have identified 4 issues, and we structure our answer so each of the issues is taken one at a time and is a paragraph within our answer. There are several different methodologies, but one is the IRAC methodology. The I stands for issue, and the first thing we do is identify the legal issues. Each legal issue will be a paragraph in our final essay. The R stands for rule, and for every legal issue we need to explain the legal rules. It is important when we do this to cite the source of these rules, either as cases or acts of parliament or statutes. The next step is the A. This stands for apply, and this is the difficult part. We must apply the rules we have explained to the issues we have identified. Finally, the C is for conclude. As a conclusion, we must provide a brief summary of the law that applies to the problem scenario, saying what that means for the parties involved. So after the introduction, there would be a paragraph addressing the issue of David touching Gabrielle. Having identified the issue, the methodology moves on to the R, which you may recall stands for rule. This is where you explain the legal rules that are relevant to the issue. You are expected to be descriptive here and to demonstrate that you understand the legal rules by clearly explaining them in your own words. You are also expected to demonstrate that you understand where the legal rules come from by citing either the relevant statute or case. Generally, for law assessments, we would ask you to use OSCOLA referencing. However, you should check this in any assignment guidance. Having described the rule of law, we then move on to apply the rule of law to the issue we identified. We do this for every issue, and we deal with each issue before moving on to the next. We're not going to focus on the law itself in this video, rather we are focusing on the method for answering problem questions. So we're going to work through the second issue, when Benjamin slaps David. We have identified the issue, and if you have studied criminal law, then you will be able to describe the law on offences against the person and what elements are necessary for physical contact to be considered a certain offence, for example, an assault occasioning actual bodily harm, by citing the relevant portions of the Offences Against the Person Act. To establish whether Benjamin has committed an offence, you will need to apply the rules you have described to come to a conclusion. Any offence Benjamin has committed is going to require both a mental element, which is called the mens rea, and a wrongful action, which is called the actus reus. Don't worry about this now, as you will spend time learning about this as you study criminal law. What you need to do in your answer is to apply what the law says about what Benjamin did, or actus reus, and what was in his mind at the time of the offence, or mens rea, to establish if you think he has committed an offence. Your conclusion is then what offence you are going to advise your client that Benjamin has committed. You need to do this, and it is not good to use vague phrases like "it would be for the jury to decide." Remember, people pay lawyers to give them solid advice, and problem questions are how you practice these skills.